Hello and welcome to the death of the Roman Republic. In this YouTube video, which I'm not uploading as regularly as I imagine in a perfect world, I'm going to recast the series Rome from HBO. Here's what's going down. HBO's Rome ran from 2005 to 2007 in 2 seasons. Each of its 20 episodes were about an hour long and basically covered the death of the Roman Republic. The series roughly starts with Caesar and Pompey's civil war in 49 BCE and ends with Rome's first emperor in 27 BCE. And if you want to learn more about this series, listen to my podcast, link in the description. I like but don't love HBO's Rome. I'm certainly glad it exists. It is mostly faithful to history, and at one point it was one of, if not the most expensive TV shows to produce, with $9 million being spent per episode. The show has a really great atmosphere and great set design with its costuming, which I'm guessing a lot of money went into, but it certainly wasn't the battle scenes. Now, HBO famously has some other great series. Among them, I have seen quite a few, and yes, these are roughly ranked in the order of how much I like each one, but it's a really fluid list. You can take it apart in the comments if you want. Now, the game I'm playing today is that I'm going to recast the principal characters of HBO's Rome with actors and actresses from other HBO shows that I've seen. Even if they appeared in another series besides Rome, I can't use them. So actors like Tobias Menzies and Indira Varma, who were in Game of Thrones, can't come back to HBO's Rome. Additionally, I can use no more than 3 actors/actresses from each show. I'll try not to spoil Rome plot points or plots from these other shows, but just describe the basics on these characters. These are, of course, my opinion, and you are kindly welcome to agree or disagree in the comments. Something I tried to do when recasting was to recast in a way that this show could plausibly be remade today while allowing for slight story changes. To further detail that, I think that my cast is roughly the right age or could be made to look the right age to match these historical figures, though there might be some slight variations on that. I will try to keep my notes brief because if I wrote a paragraph or 2 on everyone, this would take 2 hours probably. Finally, in some cases, I try to stay true to the original actor and actresses' interpretations and characterizations of these characters. In others, I chose an actor or actress who I thought could take the character in a new direction. As a disclaimer, it has been 4 years since I've watched HBO's Rome, so if I get some details wrong, that's my bad, but I'm not going to rewatch the whole series to be slightly more accurate on this dumb video. Also, I'm not going to lie, even if you like Roman history and the death of the Roman Republic, if you're not into HBO's Rome or these aforementioned HBO shows, this video is probably not for you, and probably a waste of your time. I could be wrong, but no problem if you want to click away. With all that said, let's start the show. Atia was originally played by Polly Walker and is the manipulative mother to Octavian and Octavia. Atia is driven by wanting her children and family to advance, and in some cases, is willing to hurt her children to do so. Additionally, Atia wants to be with Mark Antony, and importantly, is niece to Julius Caesar. I would recast Atia with Patricia Clarkson of Sharp Objects. In Sharp Objects, Clarkson plays a mother who can be very charming, yet is very manipulative and very despicable. Given Clarkson is a bit of an older actress, I'd make her Julius Caesar's older sister, which is a definite departure from history, but still works story-wise in my opinion. Lucius Vorenus was originally played by Kevin McKidd. He was soldier to Julius Caesar, looking forward to retirement, and has a view of a more common person's perspective in Rome. Also, our boy Vorenus has some issues throughout the series. Recasting Vorenus, I chose Paddy Considine, as seen in The Outsider. I think Considine can convey Vorenus' struggles. At the present, with Considine's physique, I don't necessarily buy Considine being a freshly retired soldier, but a couple months in the gym should get him there, and besides, his intention was to retire from combat. Titus Pullo was originally played by Ray Stevenson, and like Vorenus, was meant to give us a more commoner's view of Rome. He's also recently retired like Vorenus, and is a brute with a heart of gold? He also plays comic relief to Vorenus' straight man, and their friendship is a major part of the show. I would recast Pullo with Chris Messina from Sharp Objects. Messina definitely brings a physical presence, and I can see him getting violent. I also think he'd have good chemistry with Paddy Considine. Now, Considine has more of a comedic history, looking at his roles in stuff like Hot Fuzz and The Death of Stalin. Something I'm kicking around in my head is that maybe Vorenus and Pullo could swap their roles from the original series. Considine's Vorenus could be more of a joker, while Messina's Pullo could be more of a straight man, but Messina is affable enough to pull off a joker well, and Considine can definitely play deadly serious. Niobe was originally played by Indira Varma. She is Vorenus' wife and has a strained relationship with him because he was soldiering for like 10 years while she was raising the family. She also believed he was dead, which I just remembered when writing this script. I would cast Alexa Palladino from Boardwalk Empire to play this new Niobe, because I find the characters of Niobe and Angela from Boardwalk Empire to be very, very similar. In Boardwalk Empire, Palladino tried to construct a good life with a gangster and struggled to connect to him, who was a soldier she hadn't seen in years, raising his child all by herself. They'll also struggle on other marital issues. I really think that Palladino can channel her role in Boardwalk Empire very effectively to be Niobe in this updated HBO's Rome. Now, Julius Caesar was originally played by Kieran Hines, I think. One of those is right.
Kieran Hines.
He's the commanding, ambitious, and calculating general struggling for power in the dying Roman Republic. In my opinion, there is not that much emotion on display from Hines, besides he was a consul of Rome and his final scene. It is very cold and serious throughout. For a recast, I think that Ben Mendelsohn of The Outsider is well versed in playing cold, ambitious, and calculating characters. I trust that Mendelsohn could possibly bring more emotion to the role as well. Not saying that Hines couldn't, but it was just a directional choice from the original series. And as a runner-up, I think that Charles Dance would also make a great Julius Caesar as well. Here's a bust of Julius Caesar and Ben Mendelsohn, and honestly, gun to my head, I feel like I'm looking at twins here. Pompey was originally played by Kenneth Cranham. He was a brilliant military tactician, but not so brilliant in politics. As portrayed in HBO's Rome, he was a bit arrogant, as seen referring to himself as Pompey Magnus in the third person a few times, yet still being insecure. Now, I think there are a bevy of great actors that could portray Pompey Magnus. Runners-up include Mark Addy of Game of Thrones, James Gandolfini of The Sopranos, Peter Mullen from Westworld. I think all would have done great in this role with these characteristics, but I have another choice in mind. For my true casting of Pompey, I'd elect Stellan Skarsgård. I think that Skarsgård can encapsulate all the historical qualities of Pompey Magnus. Additionally, I might direct him to be a bit more dark and cruel. I recently watched Girl with a Dragon Tattoo, although I think that Pompey has a pretty messed up introduction in episode 1 of HBO's Rome, so yeah, the darkness, if we were keeping that in there, would be well played by Skarsgård. Additionally, casting Skarsgård now would be appropriate for a casting later on, but I'll talk about that in another video. Cato the Younger was originally played by Carl Johnson. He is a very conservative politician and wants to preserve the Republic. Cato also hates Julius Caesar. Now, in real life, Cato the Younger was a little younger than Julius Caesar, yet HBO's Rome portrays him as an old man, and I think that's an appropriate creative choice. Recasting Cato, I chose Brian Cox of Succession. Cox plays a spiteful, hateful, ruthless man who's stuck in his ways even if it hurts those around him. Cox was also considered to play Pompey Magnus. Fan favorite Brutus was originally played by Tobias Menzies. He is, for lack of better words, conflicted and tries to make moral decisions, but his loyalties are split. He's also the son of Servilia, who we'll get to in a second. Brutus is also the friend to, almost mentee, dare say son-like figure to Julius Caesar. Recasting Brutus, I chose Taylor Kitsch of True Detective's Worst Season. Kitsch played a similarly emotionally conflicted character as he tries to be morally upright, quote-unquote, and follow his society's expectations. Kitsch also plays a man who has a challenging relationship with his mother, paralleling Brutus and Servilia a bit. I do believe this is a bust of Marcus Junius Brutus. Compared to Taylor Kitsch, I could have done a lot worse. Servilia was originally played by Lindsay Duncan. She is the mother to Brutus and lover of Julius Caesar. She is also a woman scorned and wants to hurt the Julii. I elected Edie Falco of The Sopranos to take up the role. Falco demonstrated a range of characteristics throughout The Sopranos, and I think would do the character justice. While this photo is over a decade old now, the elder cast of Patricia Clarkson, Ben Mendelsohn, and Edie Falco are all similarly aged to each other, so I think they are appropriately cast in terms of age. Known for good takes only, Cicero was originally played by David Bamber. Cicero was intelligent and respected by some, and like Cato, wanted to preserve the Republic. But I thought HBO's Rome shows Cicero with a lot of uncertainty, interestingly enough. Recasting Cicero, I easily elected Aidan Gillen of Game of Thrones and The Wire. In both series, Gillen's characters have quite the gift of gab. Additionally, like Cicero, Gillen's characters in these series advance in their societies through merit, though like Cicero, making the wrong moves can ruin their hold on power. I think that Gillen could bring a greater sense of confidence and self-righteousness to the role, like his characters in Game of Thrones and The Wire. Alright, we have an important one. In HBO's Rome, the same character Octavian was portrayed by two different actors. The young Octavian was originally played by Max Purkis. He is intelligent, yet kind of awkward. He is also very cold and calculating, and notably, non-athletic. Recasting him, I would hire Austin Abrams from Euphoria, and ladies and gents, we are on a ticking clock to make this happen. He looks young now, we cannot hold off on this forever. Just look at Finn Wolfhard, that kid's grown up. Anyway, Abrams does not look very athletic and can play cold, see The Walking Dead, and play awkward, see Euphoria. I mean, he's actually 24 right now. He looks young, but we have to start this right now. Get some makeup on him to pull this off. As a hypothetical runner-up, I would cast Isaac Hempstead Wright of Game of Thrones, but he is too tall now, but would have been really great a couple years ago. Now, the elder Octavian was originally played by Simon Woods. Post-puberty, this Octavian is slightly more athletic, just as cold, calculating, yet more ambitious, and has an added cruelty to him. This Octavian also tends to project himself as more powerful than he is. And let me tell you, I am very, very proud of this recasting. Kieran Culkin, Succession. Consider Roman Roy. Cold, deviant, slimy, ambitious, cowardly, and cruel. Convincingly, Abrams could be aged up to Culkin. No? Culkin is a bit older at 38 years old, but I think looks younger than he is. As a runner-up, I had Alfie Allen of Game of Thrones, but when I realized I could use Kieran Culkin, I had to pull the trigger. Also, I am pretty proud of how Augustus of Prima Porta looks compared to Kieran Culkin. Agrippa was originally played by Alan Leach. He's Octavian's friend and military advisor, and a moral white knight. This leads to a few laughs in the show, or at least one big one that I can think of. My recasting of Agrippa may be controversial because it definitely departs from history, but it's an actor I like that I wanted to include. Scoot McNairy brings an intensity to many of his roles. Now, he's definitely older than Kieran Culkin, which would not be historically accurate as Agrippa and Octavian were the same age. Part of what makes Agrippa so extraordinary was his military prowess despite his young age, and that would be lost with McNairy. Despite this, I would have McNairy be an elderly, brotherly figure to Octavian. I wouldn't have McNairy play any kind of moral, awkwardly funny Agrippa, but a straight, intense military chief. That said, I do love the historical young Agrippa, who's just kind of a wonderkind at killing things, so I could be easily talked out of this. Livia was originally played by Alice Henley. She is ambitious and seductive and didn't get a lot of screen time in HBO's Rome, but now there's that Domino series about her life that I have yet to watch that I've heard is not the most historically accurate. I would recast Livia with Charlotte Hope from Game of Thrones. If you haven't seen Game of Thrones, I will tell you that Hope portrays a character who is ambitious, manipulative, sadistic, and could get more screen time in this version of Rome. But then again, she's got her own TV show to herself now, I guess. Octavia was originally played by Carrie Condon. She is the daughter of Atia, sister to Octavian. Throughout the series, she is used like a pawn, and I honestly didn't like what they did with her in HBO's Rome. How she was played, how little agency she had. But there is truth in that, because it is not an inaccurate portrayal to how little agency women had. It just makes me uncomfortable to see, straight from Rome's very first episode. I would recast Octavia with Shailene Woodley of Big Little Lies.
My Shailene just went Woodley mode!
A girl who was really beat up by society around her, and I will keep it vague like that, but is always trying her best. Runners up for the role include Sydney Sweeney from Euphoria and Margaret Qualley from The Leftovers, but both of them are ultimately too young, I think. Like, they both might look older than the young Octavian, but Kieran Culkin looks older than those two. However, I think that Shailene Woodley could be made up, could be convincingly older than Kieran Culkin, even if that's not the case in real life. Ptolemy, the nominal king of Egypt, was originally played by Scott Chisholm. He is Cleopatra's younger brother, a spoiled child, and manipulated by those around him so that they can stay in power. Now, I am actually going to depart from HBO's Rome and history here. This may be a bit controversial again, and I'm okay with that. My Ptolemy will not be a child, but a young man, roughly Cleopatra's age. He's a virile, intense, power-hungry man who wants to be the sole king of Egypt. He also happens to be ethnically Pakistani. And I should say there's a lot of debate as to how to portray Cleopatra and her family. While historically, Cleopatra's dynasty lived in Egypt in northern Africa, their dynasty was from Macedonia and incestuously married each other. But anyways, I elect Riz Ahmed of the Night of to play the aged-up Ptolemy. Ahmed has displayed an intensity in this role and would be very willing to kill his sister for sole control of Egypt, and I would 100% keep that crown tattoo on his neck from the Night of. Cleopatra was originally played by Lindsay Marshall. She is the lover to Julius Caesar and then Mark Antony. Cleopatra is manipulative and ambitious, and like her brother, wants to rule Egypt by herself. In Westworld, Tessa Thompson goes through a lot. Thompson certainly demonstrates coldness and ambition, yet Cleopatra also has a fiery and emotional side to her as well, which Thompson demonstrates in Westworld. And finally, dear viewers, the casting you've all been waiting for. The single most charismatic character in the whole series, and it's not even close. The newsreader. Originally played by Ian McNeice, he dutifully informs the Roman populace on current events. And he would be portrayed by Bill Hader. Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody. With that, I'm going to wrap the video here. If you'd like to like and subscribe.
Savage, yeah. Classy, bougie, ratchet, yeah. Sassy, moody, nasty, yeah. Acting stupid, what's happening? Bitch, what's happening? Bitch, I'm a savage, yeah. Classy, bougie, ratchet, yeah. Sassy, moody, nasty, yeah. Hacking, stupid, what's happening?
Mark Antony was originally portrayed by James Purefoy. Throughout HBO's Rome, Antony is a confident, iconic, charismatic, arrogant, entitled, hot mess. In addition, or should I say subtraction, clothing was quite optional for Antony. To take up Mark Antony's mantle, I chose Justin Theroux of The Leftovers, which is a really good show that more people should watch. Anyway, Theroux plays a critically damaged dude who has some issues, who is often chronically in a state of undress, and there are corners of the internet that thirst over Theroux's Kevin Garvey like they thirst over Purefoy's Mark Antony. I see you, Twitter. As an honorable mention for the title of Mark Antony, while I have never fully seen an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm, apparently Chet Hanks.
Hey guys, look, I just wanted to tap in really quick. I just got this feeling, man, that this summer is, it's about to be a white boy summer.
Plays a character and is therefore entitled in the running to play any of these characters, and I could think of, it all just adds up. In conclusion, my ideas are bad, but more meaningfully, something I unexpectedly discovered. HBO apparently has a lot of similar characters and character archetypes across their shows. Like, I think literally every show has a great person to play Pompey Magnus, for example, and I think there's a definite trend of HBO picking up shows that show damaged people across time and space who live in complex gray worlds and have complicated motivations in their actions. And if you use my affiliate link, you can get 15% off HBO Max. Please, I would love to hear your casting suggestions in the comments or on Twitter at DOTRRpod. You can use my criteria to keep it to HBO shows, or maybe make it out of Netflix originals, or Hulu, or iCarly stars or something, I don't know. But please let me know of some of your dream casts in the HBO Rome reboot. Gigantic thank you to I think it is Triumviri on Twitter for the Mark Antony fan cam. I, of course, cannot make that. Triumviri has a lot of fan cams on Roman media, like fan cam on Crassus, the first triumvirate, Octavian, and more. So check out his Twitter, and the original Antony fan cam will be in the description. Check him out. Finally, there are several other important people in the death of the Roman Republic that are conspicuously absent in the original HBO's Rome, and in part 2 of this video that'll come out someday, I will keep going with the casting of some historical figures who have never seen an HBO Rome's original series. Thank you, have a great day or night, and goodbye.